Preparing to live stream. We should be live now. So I'm just going to kick it off and it may cut off weird. But welcome back to the channel, Justin. It's good to see you. Looks like you're coming in from your home gym. So,
Exactly.
so that's cool. But welcome back. Today we're talking about NOI, optimization, profitability, making money, and how the heck I put some of these deals together. So welcome back to the channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Happy Wednesday. Looks like today's actually a regular day. Last couple of days been super warm for the Northwest, which has been nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 80 where I'm at, so
Hmm.
I enjoy it. A little
Exactly.
too hot, but it's okay.
Yeah. I was, before the video here, I was telling Cody I'm always amazed at, well, one, he's consistently putting out content, but two, like how he's funding these deals. So I'm excited to talk about some of the actual deals that he's doing. How is he funding them? So we'll get to that a little bit later. But first, we're going to talk about NOI. And for those that are newer to the game, why don't you explain NOI for people?
Well, NOI is just your cash flow when you have no debt. That's it. So any way you can increase net income after your operating expenses, like your taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, management, even if you don't have a manager, still accounting for the management fee. Like anytime you can increase your cash flow above and beyond that number, like that is what we're talking about is NOI optimization, trying to grow that. So that could be more income net of expenses. It could be less expenses. If you just
Exactly.
spend less, you net more. So that's something I did this year is I got my insurance quote. So I shopped it around and lowered my bill by 24,000 a year across the portfolio. Some properties went up, but net it went down $24,000. So that's 24,000 of new NOI, which on apartment buildings, as you know, Justin, that boosts the value quite a bit.
Exactly. Which that was why on the back end, I was going to say, now, why is NOI important? Why is cash flow important? When you're So most of my stuff is 1 to 4. I have some 5 plus, commercial. But for you, the amount one you're just talking about increasing cash flow, but the valuation of the property is all derived on the NOI. So that's why we want to talk about it. That's why we want to share what we're doing for certain projects we're doing. And for most people, what you just brought up there, for most people probably watching this, that's 2,000 a month you save just on insurance, right? And that's the beauty of a large portfolio is scale. Now, most people don't even pay 24,000 in insurance for their entire portfolio, and that's what you're saving. And maybe that this is a great one where why don't you walk us through, A, why did you say, hey, I need to fix my insurance? But two, how did you go about getting 24,000 reduction?
Well, I didn't know I needed to. I had a guy named Alec who kept calling me, and Alec from Papel, he called me every
Uh-huh.
month, texted me, emailed me. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you quitting on this idea, da da da, whatever. He kept on reaching out, and I kept blowing him off because I didn't really have time for it.
Yep.
And eventually we hopped on a Zoom. I was like, you know what? I'm on the road for 2 hours. I'll Zoom you while I'm driving, and we'll go from there.
I love it. And
And we started going through the actual numbers, and there's a big savings. And so that's good. Now there's growing pains getting swapped over, like getting it actually all put together on one policy is fun, figuring that out. However, I put everything from independent policies into one master policy,
right.
which saves me a ton of money because now they're insuring the total insurance value. So they're looking at like the total property
Uh-huh.
value for insurance purposes. And so I get better rates.
Excellent. And you said that's from Capella or Compel?
Propel.
Propel. Okay.
So insurance is one thing. Fighting taxes, I had my tax bill go from 2,100 for property tax to $8,400, 8,394, rounding up. So I'm fighting that right now to get that back down to like 4 grand because that's ridiculous. They assessed it at basically double what I paid 6 months ago. So
Hmm.
that was insane.
Yeah.
So you can fight taxes. You can. shop around insurance. But another thing before I go into what you like to do. So I took this photo from one of my buildings.
Oh,
What
wow.
this, it's maybe hard to see, but these are meter boxes basically.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, there's no meter in it, but they're all numbered and wired to fill out the electricity. So going in and actually spending the money, the meters are $225 per meter for those 39 units. I got to do the math on that. I'm not doing that in my head. Times 225. That's
10,000.
$8,800 basically.
Hmm.
And spending 8,800, then I have to wait for the lease to come up. My annual spend on electricity for my tenant space is a little over 16,000.
Hmm.
Spend nine to make 16 a year. Now, some people would think just on the cash flow, like that's great, which it is. You get paid back in like 7 months. But the reason I'm doing it is that 16,000 of NOI that I get back, those expenses on a 6.5 cap, which is how my building is valued, it's 246,000 in value.
Hmm.
It's just like that's the calculation. Like it's not rocket science. So spend nine to make 250,000 basically, and then I can borrow 150 of it tax free.
Exactly. I love it.
Infinite return, which is better than 200% return, which is basically what that would be.
Yeah, it's one of those I don't know who I heard it from, but it was like you take care of the asset will take care of you, is basically what you're saying. Where you're putting money into the asset, which then generates the value. You can then pull that money back out, buy more properties or put more back into the property. So, and just while we're on the insurance thing, there's, two trains of thought. There's people that love single families, and then there's people that like multifamily. I'm kind of in between. But when you're talking about the scale that Cody's got, he's got less properties, more units. So when he's changing over the insurance, like how many actual like properties would you have?
Maybe 12.
Exactly. So Cody has twice the units and half as many, a third. Like I have 30 and 30 properties, 80 units, right? So for Cody to change over more than double the units, it's much easier than me changing over. Because when these insurance policies change over, one, you have to obviously pay the money. Two, you've
Hmm.
already paid in advance for a lot of your insurance. So now you got to make sure you get all the credits back. And then each of those you have to go and then show the lender, here's the new policy and get updated. Now, the insurance provider, that's where they make their money. They should be doing all that. But you still have to work through all of that. Send it to the property man, depending on your property manager. You're yourself managed, so you don't, doesn't matter. But when you have a property manager, sometimes they require your insurance as well. So there's a lot of, yes, you're saving 24,000, and because you're self-managing, the friction of changing over is not that difficult. For people that have a lot of single families, it can be cumbersome, right? But the reason why Cody gets these, one, it's volume and it's a large dollar amount, but it's one building with a lot of units versus a bunch of different units. And one of the, you know, I was listening to Cody yesterday about what are the mentor's tips that he gave him. One that I had was from a mentor saying, I want more people under one roof. The less number of roofs, the less opportunity for roof problems, right? Which that translates to how do you get lower insurance? I mean, if you had a super tall building with one roof versus flat, obviously you have way more roof that needs to be maintained and the insurance. So these are things that as we're building portfolios, and I would say more importantly now, I mean, looking in hindsight, these are ways that you can start saving large chunks of money. Any other ones that you want to cover or that you've saved money on?
Yeah, so actually adding bedroom So this is something that was interesting that's helped me save money and make money, which is important. I own a monopoly on the small studios and one beds in Moses Lake.
Hmm.
There's some motel conversions out there that have studios, but they're not really studios, right? So like actual studio apartments and one bedrooms, I've got a pretty good control on in Moses Lake. And so what I've been doing is finding ways to turn the one bedrooms into two bedrooms, whether
Love.
it's cannibalizing storage units. And what that does is, yeah, I get a couple $100 more a month in rent, but it gives me an opportunity because my cost basis on the two bedroom is basically the cost basis of buying the one bedroom for cheap,
Right.
that I can keep my rents lower than everyone else. No one can build a two bedroom. No one can buy a two bedroom as cheap as I did.
Right.
So I have a competitive advantage. I can price things lower where someone else might be at 14. I'm at 11.75. That 225 in someone's budget's a lot of money.
Hmm.
So now my turnover is less. Because why would you move if you have this good deal and all utilities are included? And for me, now I'm making even more money than I was. So NOI goes up. My
Right.
turnover goes down because before they were paying close to market for a one bedroom. Now they're under market for a two bedroom.
Hmm.
It's a win on both sides. It's turnover is going to be one of your biggest costs for sure.
Right. And you hit on something that's I mean, a lot of times you don't like to say the word monopoly in today's world, right? You're worried about the political ramifications, but I love what you're doing because you have a large proportion. You are quote unquote the market, right? That's kind of like when I'm talking to potential sellers that are selling their properties. I'm always like the differentiator is like I'm actually buying and selling my properties in this market. So I'm the market. I would know better than any other agent. So I have a competitive advantage, which you're talking about there, which is amazing. So anytime you guys have these advantages, you got to play them to your strength here.
And one other thing worth noting, another way to lower your costs is to own more, which
Right.
bigger is not better, but bigger does come with different tools. You can do
Right.
different things. For example, my townhomes, it costs me $200 a month to have a professional company maintain the lawns.
Right.
So be it, $50 a week. I am working on the new construction stuff. And at the end of everything, I'll have 70 side by side townhomes
Dang,
when
that's
it's
amazing.
all done. I have a guy who will mow it. He's a handyman of mine, known him for quite a while. He
Uh-huh.
will mow the property for 200 a week.
Wow.
It's just a big long strip. Like it's not like it's crazy going behind buildings. It's mowing a strip. And so for him, he can make $70 an hour doing that, which
Exactly.
is that's a lot of money for anybody.
Right.
And I have the stuff. I have the mower. I've got the edge. Like anything he needs, I'll have.
Right.
And he gets $70 an hour to do it. So that's a win for him. But if you do the math, that's $800 a month. $800 divided by 10 buildings. Now I took my cost from 200 to 80.
Right.
And it doesn't sound like a lot, $120 of savings, but it adds up.
100%. And that's the beauty of multifamily where because you're dividing the value is divided by the cap rate, right? So every dollar can be like, $5 to $10 more that you're adding to the value. And the one thing on competitive advantage, I'm also talking about this with other investors, is that your niche is that you have a large portion of the studio one bedroom when we're looking at like flip properties that are on the market, it is very difficult to compete with a builder slash contractor because the contractor has their own labor. They're not marking up their labor for their flips, right? So, and typically, yeah, I want to say it's 15-20% that these guys mark it up, right? So in theory, every property that a regular investor versus a contractor, same property, that contractor's competitive advantage is like 15%, 20% lower than in terms of the repair cost than the other anybody else. That's their competitive advantage. They can always bid the most for the project and still make money, right? So if you have that advantage, you've got to figure out how to take care of it.
Yep.
I'll do
Well,
one real quick on my NOI, and then we can talk about deep dive into one of your deals. On the one that I'm doing now, it's kind of I've been thinking about doing this one for a while. I bought this property. It's in Wisconsin. It's a seller finance deal. It's a Cody Davis special. I think I got 20 years. I think I did like 5% down. It's 20 years. I want to say it's like 5%, something like that. And it effectively break even at a single family rental. Now, the this used to be it's a property across from a church. It used to be where everybody after church would go to this spot. I don't know what you call it, the hall, I guess. So there's a large area, and then there's, a bedroom, three bedrooms down below. But up top, there's literally, it's like a dorm room. There's uh, eight bedrooms, and there's a sink in eight of the bedrooms. So I'm like, okay, I could do assisted living. I could do um, rent by the room. I could do what do you call it? Sober living. So now
how big are the bedrooms?
bedrooms, I would say they're probably, gosh, probably close to at least 150, if not 200, probably like
Have,
200 square feet.
and they have a sink. Have you seen UL approved kitchenettes?
Uh-uh. You'll have
I'm
to
gonna
drop me.
text. Yeah, I'll text it to you. So that's what we did in the motel conversion when I used to own it. And then the interesting thing is, since you have sinks, you don't have to add new plumbing. You're just
Right.
gonna have to plug it in. So UL approved means you just take a plug, you plug it into an outlet, and you're good. It's set
Nice.
up. So you plumb in the sink, you plug it in, it has a burner top, it has a mini fridge,
Yeah.
and you can get the 3 foot, the 5 foot, the 6 foot, 8 foot. It's all the cabinets,
Hmm.
and it's like 3 grand.
Dang, that's
So
cheap.
it's got the burner plates, the mini fridge, the sink, cabinet space, and it's
Yeah.
like $3,000 delivered. And you can get bulk
Right.
discount if you buy a bunch. It's interesting. So we
Hmm.
did that for a bunch of units, and it's just plug and play. You plug it in the wall and you're done. After you
Nice.
hook up to the plumbing, which is easy because you have it.
Yeah, the plumbing's definitely there. The question would be, do I have enough juice coming to that building? That'd be the next question. But on this one specifically, I wasn't doing anything. It was just kind of marinating. Kind of, it's basically break even as it is. So then the thought was, hey, when I get to that project, I'll tackle it. Well, there's like this mat in the April, there was, if you guys are in Wisconsin area, massive rainstorm came through, it was flooding everything. Well, one of it flooded the specific property. And so the tenant made a huge stink out of it and was like blowing us up on social media and everything. We ended up, fixing everything, had a remediation company come in and take care of it. Well, she ended up saying, "Hey, I just want to move out." So that plan, you know, the thought was she was going to renew in May, right? And she had already said she was going to renew. So now she's moving out. Now that project from 27 is like now. So we're now aggressively looking at, yeah, and I'm so next week we got a meeting with the city just to verify all the different options we can use for that. But I mean, we're talking about, I think there's either 10 or 11 bedrooms in this place, and it's like around 6,000 square foot. Already has all the sprinklers in there. The only thing it doesn't have, which could help, especially assisted living, there is no elevator, there's no like lift or anything to get people up to the second floor. But the thought
Not
is,
yet.
yeah, because the rent on it today is like I think it's 1750. But if we just rented by the room, $500 times 10, that's 5,000. That's like
Uh,
3x the,
Imagine if you rented it for 600 because they had a kitchenette.
yeah, exactly.
And that talking about NOI growth, you spend $3,000 one time
Yep.
and maybe like $300 to install it if you don't do it yourself.
Hmm.
and that it won't take more than an hour to get everything hooked up, maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It comes all boxed together like it's one unit. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I just texted it to you. You should look at it in real time.
Yeah.
But if you get an extra $100, that's 1,200 a year per unit.
Oh,
I
I
don't,
see it.
what's the cap rate over there?
It's probably like eight over here.
So it's extra $1,200 a year times 10 units times 0.92. Take out some for vacancy, and let's take out another 1,000 for added utility cost. You have extra $10,000 a year
Hmm.
on an eight cap. That's $125,000 of value, and you would have spent 3 grand if you don't get a bulk discount times 10. You spend 30 to make 125.
Yeah. You basically spend $1 to get four. Like it's like a
Um,
no-brainer.
and within 3 years, even if it wasn't valued on the NOI, within 3 years, all your money's out.
Exactly. I love it. Now
What
it's
are your
just like
thoughts on that little unit there?
it's nice. I'm looking at the white one, and for those that obviously can't see it, yeah, it's a yeah,
Oh, that's not going
right.
to load.
Yeah. It's basically two burners on the right. Yeah, there you go. Two burners on the right. You got that's a fridge in the middle, looks like,
Yep.
and then a sink on the left. So
Yeah, and you got cabinets on the left and the right. So
right. So and this kind of brings up another point. This is why it's super important when you're going to these properties that you take pictures and videos of everything while you're there. Because then as you're going through these pictures, especially for me, like this is like thousands of miles away. But when I went to that property, I walked through it and I looked at everything that was in there. I'm like, okay, there's so many possibilities here to increase the NOI. So why don't we save the deep dive on a deal for another one? Because we only have a few minutes left here. Um,
that's fine. I can tell you how I pay it though, because you
sure.
asked about that.
Yeah.
Justin asked me offline, how do you get your deals? And the game I play is I figure out how to pay for things out of future revenue. So think about like a cash advance, right?
Mhm.
So you pull money off of a credit card, super expensive rate. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that because I don't do that. But what I want to do is I want the ability to buy something today and pay for it out of future opportunity. That's the only thing I'm looking for so that I can get the money to be an infinite return.
Right.
So when I bought my 12plex originally in Moses Lake, 560 seller financed, 120 in second position hard money, 680 total debt. I then did another couple hundred grand in renovations. Today I have a loan on it for $1 million. So what did I do? I bought it with 100% debt with the goal to boost the NOI so that I could refinance it with a bank and pay for the earlier debt with a new one based off of future performance.
Right.
So that's the whole strategy is how can I buy something with incomes that I don't have today? So when I go buy like the 38 unit way back when, I want to get to an infinite return. What revenue would I have to have coming in to justify an infinite return to a bank? Like, hey, I boosted the NOI. I want this debt amount, pay off the money I'm bringing in on the front end. And that allows you to either take on a partner with a buyout, just take on a partner, or just borrow the money. It influences your decisions because my main decision maker is you got to be able to manage it for one, but can I pay for all the obligations I'm taking on the front end out of future income from a property I don't own yet? And if so, then I'm going to do it. And if I can't, then I'm not going to do it.
I love it. I like the, from me, from an experienced investor standpoint, what Cody's talking about here is like the next level, right? Most people are just thinking about, hey, can I scrape up the 100K or whatever the dollar amount is to buy it? Cody's already looking at the end game and then saying, based on the end game, how can I buy this today? And it's effectively, I love this term, financial engineering in a positive way, right? He's creating wealth by updating the property such that he can get the money back that he put in or somebody lent him to put in, right? So that's awesome,
I
man.
was
I love it.
I was talking with a buddy about that yesterday. he was looking at a deal and he's like, well, the cash flow goes down after you pull out the money. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
And my wife pointed out that's probably not the best way to pitch somebody. But it's true. Who cares? If you go from 25,000 a year to 15,000 a year, but you have nothing invested and you still hit your debt coverage ratios, who cares? Because now you're getting an infinite return rather than a return on investment.
Right. The what people forget, that's the what I call the stealth wealth. You have the debt pay down, you have the appreciation, and you're paying off debt with cheaper dollars in the future. You have all these like you're making zero cash flow, but there's all those three things that are adding to your, and we didn't even talk about the tax benefits, right? So now you have more depreciation that you're able to write off for the income you're getting on the other properties. So,
And
and
hopefully you're not zero cash flow. I mean, reduced cash flow,
yeah,
but you can also increase your cash flow by pulling money out. I mean, there's ways to do that. I'm
yeah,
confident you've probably done that, and I've done that. And
we're very close. Well, I've been saying this for a while, but we're very close to where that's going to be a true scenario where, you know, what happens typically is that, what do you say, the interest rates go up in an elevator or up the stairs and then down an
Mhm.
elevator. When this does happen for whatever reason, and rates do go down, it won't go from like 6.5 to 6. It'll be like 6.5 to 5.5 to 4, or it'll start really chunking down really fast. Which then, exactly what Cody's talking about, we do a cash out refi. We'll actually get money out because the interest is on a large dollar amount more than what you're pulling out. Your net cash flow at the end of the day will and can increase when you're in a trending down environment. Now, you could also do that if you changed your amortization or if you went to IO, interest only. But the best way to do it is when the actual interest rate goes down, because that's actually net the best way to increase cash flow, and you're still paying off less total debt at the very end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime I can get interest only, I'm going to take it. I'm working on pulling money out of a 39 unit right now, and if I can get 2 years of interest only, I'm absolutely taking it because now I get cash out and I get 2 years of like an extra 3,800 a month. And I'm not going to pay myself that. I'm going to take that money and throw it into the building, push the NOI up and push the cap rate down.
Exactly.
So, alrighty, you got to go.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward next week, and we can alternate. Maybe next week we do like pick one of your deals, and like how did you, fund the deal? Because I think I'm always amazed on you're such a young guy and you've done millions of dollars, right? Like your mentor said, if you want to be a millionaire, you got to get $1 million in debt. So Cody's amazing at figuring out the debt structure. So I'd love to get into a deal deep dive, whatever property you want to talk about, and how you got that money. Because like I've been in the game 10 years and I'm like 20 years older than Cody. And I'm always amazed. I'm like, this guy, how's he getting so much money? And I'm just starting to get into what Cody's doing, 20 years older than he is. So I think that would be huge. One, me personally, I'm wanting to learn. But I think everybody that's on this call would be huge for them to learn about how this is possible. Whether you have, because you didn't have a job, limited experience at the very beginning, right? To zero, and you're able to get, 2 commas of debt, right? So super
I'm
excited.
going to be
Don't,
passing 20 million in debt this year. And I had to go backwards to go forwards again. And I'm getting there with new stuff, so I'm excited about that.
yep,
I'm curious to see what the new learning pain points are because that's another level.
yep,
But I do believe I need to get to 20 million in debt, get to 10 million net worth,
yep.
relatively efficiently. So that'll be fine. Before we wrap up, Flavio had one question.
Mhm.
Are you having live or Zoom next Monday event?
So what
Sorry.
he's referring to is on now I on months every month, the second Monday of the month, I do a live meetup. So as of right now, there's no live setup for that. Separately, I'll probably do like an online event. The reason is like where we hold these events is not exactly tech friendly per se. So if I get a room that's AV set up in the future, and we're talking about NOI, the rooms that I'm doing it in, it's at a store that has free free rent, if you will. But now they don't have AV set up per se. So in the short run, the answer is no. But I do want to do more through the W2 to Freedom, do more live events. So, but thanks for asking.
Alrighty. Well,